Mike Mayock joining us. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Are you one of the guys that didn't vote Belichick in the Hall of Fame?
You didn't even let me sit down.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it or what?
Hey, look, I played for Belichick. And when I was 22 years old, he was probably the 28-year-old special teams coach of the New York Giants. And we went on strike. Was the dumbest thing I ever saw in 1982. And the head coach, Ray Perkins, said, I'm out, and went back to Alabama during the strike. Parcells went from D.C. to head coach interim, and Belichick went from special teams to D.C. And so that kind of thing was kind of crazy to me to see that up close. And I'll never forget, my dad coached for 40 years. And after about 2 or 3 days of training camp, I called my dad and I said, look, I can't even pronounce this young guy's name. It's like Babella something. I said, this guy's, I've never been around somebody who teaches. And that's what I define coaching. The number one is you got to be a great teacher. That's what my dad was, a great teacher. I've never been around a guy who teaches like him. He was amazing.
Do you hear that Mike Vrabel does the same type of stuff? Because like we watch him, like I see it, but like from the outside and from you're a connected guy.
Look, for years, my job was to be at college kids, not whatchamacallit, pro days.
Yeah.
Pro days. I want to call them Pro Bowls. Pro days. And Belichick and Vrabel, even though they were on two different teams, would work the O-line or the D-line out personally. I don't mean stand there and take notes.
Well, Mike would put pads on.
He didn't put pads on.
Yeah.
Both and Belichick. Little Belichick would jump in with a pad, and they wanted to feel the power of the O-lineman or D-lineman.
Yeah.
And when Vrabel jumps in, it's one thing. That's a large man, right? But Belichick's in there too, and both of them, they're with, he played for Belichick, but he was with a different team, and they're in there doing the same thing on the same drill. Really cool.
See, it's a funny thing because there are a lot of people hold Spygate against Bill, and it's the accumulation of information. And I take it like when I left New England and I went down to the Jets when he was down at Parcells.
Yeah.
First day I was in there, and I tell the story all the time. Bill comes in, he's got a pencil in his ear, and he's got a yellow pad like you have.
Yep.
And we sat down in the weight room. We went through every single player in New England, strengths and weaknesses. I'm like, this is odd. And it's just accumulating information, full well knowing that he's probably going to be the head coach up there in 2 years with his connection with Kraft.
Yeah.
But just this is the type of team, and this is what you got to know. Like, he overloads himself with information to the point it gets him in trouble.
And he really doesn't care where the information comes from as long as it's good information and he can learn.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't know, but for years when I was doing the NFL Network stuff, the draft, I would come up to the stadium the week before, 2 weeks before the draft, and I'd meet him at 4:35 in the morning. And the two of us would go in his office for 4 or 5 hours and just argue about players. And I would show him my chart of like a seven round overview by position because he wanted to know what league value might be. Like he has his own Patriot value, but he wanted to know what the whole league was thinking. And he'd sit there and we'd get into it, and there'd be a conversation about a safety. And I'd say, Coach, I think he's going like in the 5th round. And he was like, we think he's going a lot higher than that. And we'd throw the tape on and argue about him. And they were special moments for me. He even asked me, because he's a lacrosse guy, and the high school I went to outside of Philadelphia is a big lacrosse school. He said, aren't they unbelievable? Like I said, Coach, they haven't lost a game in about 4 years. He goes, what's the coach's name? And I told him. He says, you got his number? I go, yeah, I got it. You want it? He's like, yeah. And he said, I might want to call him and just figure out some of the things he does to keep their attention while winning. And I don't know if he ever did, and that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is he's always searching from anywhere to accumulate the information you're talking about to get better.
I have said that Bill, the GM, hurt Bill, the coach, in his final years in New England because some of his talent and his draft misses hurt him. Do you agree with that? Do you think the drafts over the final few years in New England or what ultimately maybe led to where the team went and his departure?
Well, I think if you look back at all his years, he usually had a lieutenant on the personnel side that he trusted implicitly, whether it was Nick Caserio, Scott Pioli. He had those guys, and he trusted them. And he needed those kind of guys because obviously he was busy winning games well into January and February. And they kind of helped him set a table. But what New England did that a lot of teams didn't do was at a certain point, they would take their scouts and say, you guys are all going ahead to the next year now. You're done. This is prior to the draft. This is a couple months prior to the draft. So you're going to start on the next year, and it was going to be Belichick and whoever his trusted cadre was going to be around him. And that's what he did every year. So I don't know, and I'm not going to go there on because I don't know who was making picks and when and all in the last years. All I can tell you is that for whatever reason he got slighted in this Hall of Fame process. It is the worst, dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not going to go for any excuses. I read the article about the guy that said, "Hey, I felt like the Senior Bowl guys had their last year," and I'm like, first of all, it's a dumb system. That the changes they made are stupid. You're comparing a coach to an owner to 3 senior players, but secondly, in any universe, your job as a voter is to say, out of this subgroup I have, who's number one? And no matter what it is, he's number one. You don't say, well, he'll get in later, I'm going to pick this guy. I mean, so I hate the whole thing. If there was ever a first ballot coach for the Hall of Fame, it's Bill Belichick, and I feel bad. I'm embarrassed by the whole thing, to be honest with you.
When's the last time you were in the front office? Raiders?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You had AB at the time, right?
Oh, my. So you're going to go there.
No.
Good,
but I'm like,
thanks.
Good trade for you.
But like, I see you. Everybody's like, everybody loves the crap on Antonio Brown. I'm a Pittsburgh guy.
Okay.
Or was that a release?
Antonio, when he was his best.
Yeah. To you guys.
Yeah, and then he went to New England.
He had the burnt feet.
Froze his feet.
No.
But Antonio was best when he was in Pittsburgh was unreal. And I watched when he was with us. Tom was so excited to get him because of the talent. But I mean, that's the fine line.
Let's go back. I'm
sorry for bringing it up.
Everyone again, this is Mike Mayock.
I don't understand why it didn't work.
I am a brand new GM.
Yep, I know.
Okay, and we bring this guy in the offseason. We trade for him with Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And the first thing he does is go down to the locker room, the equipment guy, and he brings his Pittsburgh Steeler helmet with him.
Right.
Which has now been banned.
It's the old bike helmet.
It's been banned by the NFL.
I love the bike helmet. I'm with him on this.
He wants our guys to paint it so that it gets by and certify. And equipment guy calls me and says, Mike, this is a lawsuit. This is a freak. We'll all get fired. I'm like, dude, we got 27, 38, whatever kind of different models. He's got to pick one. He wouldn't pick any.
Himself, didn't he?
Dude, yes. and we're looking at him. It looked like kindergarten. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Wait a minute. And then we get to training camp, first day camp in Napa, and this balloon is hovering. It lands on the field somewhere, and Antonio Brown gets out of a hot air balloon with bandages on his feet from a cryogenic chamber in Paris, France. And when the feet are okay, he won't practice because he don't like the helmets.
Oh, God.
I mean, we only saw him on the practice field 3 or 4 times, and when we saw him, like Derek Carr and John Gruden were beside themselves with how much talent he had.
Oh, my God, it's sick.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were the exact same. Trust me.
He broke ankles in Miami's second game and then it went off the rails with the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I walked into. That was fun. Thanks for bringing that up. That was good. It was good.